Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's so unbelievably catchy. I can't believe Cheap Trick didn't buy that song off of her. Our guest in the studio today, Joanna Angel, adult entertainment legend, entrepreneur, self-made movie mogul, and punk rock singer in a band. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, how are you?
Better than Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. We weren't going to talk about this on the show, but she walked in. She was like, I can't believe. I can't believe Brad and Angelina are breaking up.
Yeah. I don't even know why I said that, because I can believe it. It makes sense. I just can't believe. Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe that this is happening, I guess. They've never really seemed happy. They really never did. I swear. I think Brad was happy with Jen.
You think?
Yes. Based on no facts at all. Just based on what I see when I look at photos. I have not seen a photo of Brad and Angelina looking happy, ever. Really.
See, a buddy of mine postulated around the time that it happened that they were happy together. They got along very, very well. These were manly men doing manly things, discussing this.
They were happy when they were both cheating on other people. And once that was over, it was boring. I think the fire.
You might be right.
Fire was gone as soon as it got legit.
My friend said that he has this theory that Jennifer Aniston is extraordinarily dull or just not very good in the sack.
Why does everybody break up with her? She's gorgeous. She is gorgeous and seems very every time I see her on a talk show or anything, she seems super funny and really chill and easy to get along with. She's
nice. She seems nice.
She seems nice, but she's funny too. She's not nice and with no personality. I mean, Angelina Jolie actually seems like she has no personality. She's just, looks
serious all the time.
Yeah. I don't know why everybody. Why does everybody break up with her?
I don't know. Well, again, my buddy had this theory that she was lousy in the sack.
That could be the case. I mean, that has to be it, right? There's nothing else wrong with her.
Not that we know of.
Yeah, not that we know of. I don't know. Does she have?
There must be something under there.
Yeah. I don't feel that bad for her. Well, I guess, just because you have a ton of money and a great career doesn't mean that you're totally happy. It's silly for me to assume that, but and a great body. I know that one scene in that movie where she's a stripper. Was it in Horrible Bosses?
Oh,
or was it in the other one? Or did she do that twice?
Jason Sudeikis is in it.
Yeah.
And,
She comes down the stairs, and I don't know. She looks really good. Angelina Jolie looks sickly skinny. Jennifer Aniston looks like I go to the gym and, am on a great diet skinny, I personally like that better. But I don't know. So they're for reals breaking up.
It would appear that way. As you might remember, there were rumors not too long ago that Brad hooked up with actress Marion Cotillard, the French chick, on the set of their upcoming movie Allied. New York Post is sticking to that story. They say Angelina Jolie hired a private eye who caught them cheating. This is all alleged. This is all speculation.
Yeah. If you have to hire a private investigator, then it's over. And, it's over no matter what you find out.
We gotta get good people to stand up against these people.
That's just not normal.
And apparently, the set over there in the movie.
How do you think? I mean, he had to have wanted to get caught. He knew he was going to get caught.
I don't know. You
can't be that high profile and just cheat on someone and expect it to go.
Well, see, they said the atmosphere offset at that movie was full of hard drugs and Russian hookers, and Brad was caught up in that. That's, I think, what the New York Post is saying.
God forbid a fucking billionaire have some fun.
Ah,
How dare he?
We are not in delay. You can't use that particular word that you just used on the radio.
What? I can't say
That's
the word
okay.
billionaire? I can't say the word fun? The F word. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Can we fix that, Funkhauser?
Yeah, I have
Did
bleeps.
you catch it in time? Yay.
I got bleeps.
That's right. Why can't you be an effing billionaire and have some fun?
Yeah. Who cares?
From your radio live and uncut. Tonight, you're cutting loose and having fun. 'Cause that's my job. I'm a job.
Real radio.
104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day.
Our guest on the show today is Joanna Angel. And somehow, not that we usually deal with this sort of tabloid fodder on the show, we wound up talking about the Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie divorce.
Well,
Last year they starred in...
Everybody's waiting to hear about how we feel about this. The world is waiting for our input.
Your opinion on one thing is something I'm really interested in. Like, you are familiar, because of your work in the adult entertainment industry, that you're familiar with the idea that sexuality and your sexual wants and needs, it's not black and white. It's not a clear-cut thing for a lot of folks. And there are many people, I think, who think that Angelina Jolie might be equally, if not more, into chicks than she is into guys. And if you are one of those folks that has to chop off a big part of who you are through your sexuality when you commit to just one person, and you got these wants and needs outside of what you married into, things can be challenging and difficult. And there was this idea that Brad Pitt wasn't getting what he needed from her because really she was more into chicks. Can you speak to that?
I have no idea. It's very hard, I think, for us to try to sit here and pretend we understand what it's like to have that much money and that much fame and try to really think we know what their problems are. Like, their problems are not our problems. We have a different world of problems. You know what I mean? I mean, I just have no idea. I really don't know if Angelina Jolie's a lesbian or not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But I think there's more than that going on. They just seem like they're not making each other happy.
Yeah.
Probably just have two very, self-absorbed people, and there's not one person there to give the other person attention.
Is there a movie coming out with them in it? Have we researched that?
Well, last year they were in By the Sea, a movie that Angelina wrote and directed about a couple trying to save their troubled marriage. So maybe we shouldn't be entirely surprised by the news.
That's not a sign of anything or not. But, sometimes two powerful personalities don't really work. You don't really have a dominant one and a submissive one. You just have two very strong personalities. And sometimes it's not the greatest recipe,
In a relationship that you're in, Joanna, who is the dominant personality?
Me.
Like you? Yeah. You, but
I mean, I'm not really dominant in bed, but I call all the shots. And you know what? And my boyfriend is completely okay with that. Mm-hmm. He likes that. And that doesn't mean he's not my I don't want to use the wrong word. It's not like I don't talk down to him at all. I love him more than anything else in the world, and he he doesn't like to come up. It works out perfectly because I'm a very good delegator and he's a very good doer.
Right.
And he actually used to run his own business and he didn't really like doing it. He likes having someone be like, all right, I need this by this day. I need this by this day. Go do this. He doesn't want to make the plan, but he can follow through with any plan that anybody gives him ever. And it works very well. And I actually, before I dated him, I did go to therapy for a while, and my therapist actually did kind of make me realize, like, the next time you get into a relationship, it has to be with someone who is going to be excited about you being the boss, because the relationship I was in previously, I think I pretended to kind of be this submissive person that I really wasn't. And just because you like having submissive sex in bed, that doesn't necessarily mean you want to be submissive all the time. But some
Isn't
women
it
are
the opposite?
I think relationships wind up working a lot better once you really know yourself and what your wants and what your needs are and what you're okay with and what you're not. I think a lot of relationships fail because people pretend to be something else or pretend to be okay with things just to kind of make something work. Women do that a lot. They're like, oh, well, I can like kind of be this thing that this guy wants, and once I get comfortable in there, I won't have to pretend to do that anymore. We think like it's a big scam. Like,
or a lot of people
once I
don't know.
weasel my way in there, they're gonna like forget that this.
I think a lot of people don't know what they want. A lot of people don't know what they want or who they are, and it's almost unfair to get into a relationship before you can give someone the roadmap and be like, "These are my wants and needs."
It's true. I mean, I'm glad I met my boyfriend when I was 31 years old because I really did not know what I wanted, and really until then. And a lot of people don't know that, and that's why I tell everybody not to get married until they're 30. But whatever.
Isn't it often the opposite in terms of if you are submissive in the sack, there's a good chance that you crave that because you spend the rest of your life being type A and taking charge. And
that is a certain stereotype, and it's probably a stereotype for a reason. It is people friends of mine that I have that are pro doms. They say that the majority of the people that come in are very high powered executives somewhere, but that's not true. I'm being interrupted right now.
It's because we're going to break.
What's the point of me talking?
Money making, skills on the mic, keep me paid every day, and for part of the battle, just bow down, better act what you know. Bow down to the crown.
Stimulated minds want to know, what were you thinking? No, really, give us a call and tell us. KPRC AM 950.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
So before we were so rudely interrupted by commercials.
I know. How dare that?
Joanna
commercial.
Angel was opining about being dominant and submissive in various parts of your life. And the sack is very different from the rest of the time that you're going through life.
Well, there are
please continue.
Plenty of BDSM lifestyle people that, I do know plenty of people in these dominant submissive relationships where the sub wants to be sub all the time. And the dom wants to be a dom all the time, and when it comes to anything, so any type of scenario does exist. You can't put all relationships into one category. But I guess I had come to the conclusion that I am a terrible sub anywhere but the sack. I'm really bad at following instructions.
When you
I'm
and your
really
boyfriend
bad
are going
at paying
somewhere,
attention. It's
who
something
drives?
I'm actually. Oh, always. He always drives. Always.
But are you navigating, being like, you need to turn left here, turn right here?
No. I hate everything about driving. I'm totally fine with sitting in the passenger seat and taking selfies and texting people. No, I don't like to drive ever.
So it works well that he's into that.
No, he is into doing all the things that I either don't know how to do or don't like to do. So it's perfect.
That does work out really well.
It does. It works out really, really well. And, he's totally fine with, like, anytime somebody asks anything, like, where are we eating tonight? Like, what are we doing? Like, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, ask the boss. I'm like, yes, I will make a plan.
See,
Thank you very much.
I think a lot of guys like to do that. A lot of guys I'll do the heavy lifting, I'll do the fixing, I'll do the physical manual labor. I just don't want to have to think about any of it. You tell me what to do, I will make you happy. I just want to keep you happy and remove the tedious thinking from the process of my life.
And, I think just a lot of it was just us both meeting at the right times in our lives where we both knew that that's what we wanted. So
yeah, you figured that part out.
Yeah. I had been through a lot, and before he came into my life. I'm very glad I met him when I did, because we always talk about it, because he was in a band in all of his 20s, and I was like, if I would have met you when you were like 22. You would have broken my heart. And I would have thought that I could change you. I would have been that girl that met you on the road that was like, oh, well, I know you told me you didn't want a relationship, but I think that meant you want a relationship.
It's, for a lot of females, it is like a red rag to a bull. Because I remember being in a band and being on the road, and girls would be like, can we hang out next time you're in town? I'm like, we could, but really, what's the point? This is not going to go anywhere.
I know. We don't hear it. I was that girl so many times, and I was like, oh, I think it's like the problem is that he likes me too much, and he's getting scared. That's the thing that women say.
Yeah, sometimes it's not the problem.
Crazy. No, It's completely made up. No one gets scared of liking someone too much.
It's very interesting. It's a very interesting dynamic, because I've never had females more interested in me than when they go, I want to see you again. I'm like, I can't really. I don't know when the next time I'm going to be in your town is.
Right, and I don't have a phone.
I had a phone and an email address, but that was it. They're like, can I send you something? I'm like, you can send it to my manager's office. I have no fixed abode. I live in a tour bus on people's couches. And that difficulty, which is just, as an adult, you look at it, you go, it's such a pain in the ass. I don't want to deal with that. But at the time, like I said, red rag to a bull. It's a mountain to climb.
And unfair, but just girls love guys with no job in a band. They love it. It's like messed up. It's like there's something wrong with our chemical makeup that we think that's okay. I try when I talk to younger girls, because obviously a lot of the younger Burning Angel girls, they're into that. I try to be like, look, you have to work past that. It's not good. Just like their band and like their music, but
it will go no further. Nothing good will come of this.
Yeah, nothing.
Do not pay their cell. Do not
buy them food. Do not encourage this lifestyle. It's not
funny
fair.
That's funny that you brought up the cell phone bill, because after I got out of being in a band and I was starting to be in radio, I was still dealing with lots of bands.
You had to pay your own cell phone bill.
Right. And I started, well, before then, a record label paid the cell phone bill, and that was cool. But then,
had to learn how to be a human being.
But I did notice that a lot of guys in bands that maybe, hadn't gotten handed a chunk of cash by some evil conglomerate were using, and not even girls they were dating, but I knew so many guys in bands, and I would meet these girls that were kind of not necessarily even dating them, just like their music and hang out with them, and they were just
foolish.
I'm so glad that I paid his cell phone bill. Now he can go out and create. I'm like, what did you just do?
Yeah.
And I used to have to deal with local bands, and I'd see girlfriends carrying in equipment for them. I was like, no carrying equipment. They have to get to the point where they can earn money to pay somebody to carry equipment for them, and if they ever offer you money to carry their equipment, then and then only are you allowed to pick up that bass drum pedal. But till then, no.
I know. I remember
bad precedent.
A good friend of mine's band, their tour bus or something broke down in the middle of tour, and they're asking me to tweet these links to a GoFundMe or something. And I'm like, my car broke down last week. And you know what I did? Alone. Called a tow truck. Used my insurance for it to get fixed. Paid the deductible. Like, come on, guys.
I hate that. Like,
Why?
Look, it is harder than ever before. It's harder than ever before to make money being a musician. But I hate that. I hate the GoFundMe, crowdfunding, online panhandling version of being a guy in a band. I know a band, local band that was...
Your car breaks down.
You've really touched a nerve with me because there's this band that I know, people that I like, I'm friends with. They got a tour, like a really big tour, and so they crowdfunded tour support, and they said we're going to pay you back with T-shirts, and we're going to pay you back with signed this and that and the other thing, and so they crowdfunded their tour that they were going on. They crowdfunded tour support, and they're like, we need a new van that's more economical to go out on the road, and they bought with other people's money a Sprinter van, which I don't know if you know is a Mercedes. I was like, no, you don't panhandle. You earn it to own it. Yeah. You lazy MRFers.
That's pretty funny.
Excuse me. But I hate that. I hate the idea that people are so quick to panhandle online. And look, don't get me wrong. If you're crowdfunding something, I'm not prejudging what it is you do. I'm talking solely to musicians here. You earn it to own it, the way I had to, and the way everybody else had to before the idea of begging on the internet came along.
No, I know. I've not begged for $1 that I have, so I take it probably more personally than I should. I'm looking at your Twitter page right now, twitter.com/Joanna Angel, 2 N's. And in addition to the fact that I don't see a link to your wish list, which a lot of people do on Amazon, your gift registry. I don't have one.
you see? No. I'm also seeing that your profile picture.
Please buy my porn.
Mm-hmm.
I will use that money to buy all the pots and pans and, and
car repair that you need,
and laundry detergent. Yes, and then coffee makers. I'm just trying to think of the
do girls have
things I bought on Amazon.
But do girls have wish lists with coffee makers and
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
will my followers please go buy me some sexy laundry detergent?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Oh, tied. The other thing that I noticed on your Twitter page is that your profile picture, he said, transitioning into the political part of the show, has you and a badge saying harassment is not a California value, no on 60. Please explain to those that don't know what this is all about, because it's a big issue for people that work in your industry right now.
Yeah, it could very well be the end of porn in California, and the beginning of the end of of porn almost everywhere in the U.S. Because if this does pass, most pornographers will be leaving California, and then and then the guy who is behind it is probably going to get it instated in other states, and we're just going to keep running from it.
Do you have a dollar amount that pornography brings into California? How big of an industry is it? I don't know.
I mean, I've heard so many different numbers, whatever, but that's not even the main point. I mean, it is an extremely messed up initiative. To make a long story short, there is someone outside of porn, just a guy that really doesn't like porn, and there's a lot of guys that don't like porn. A lot of people that don't like porn, but he just had enough money and time to put something on the ballot that just will make porn not exist, will make it unrealistic to do. So it is a condom law, but beyond it being a condom law, it's part of the initiative will mean if anyone in California sees a porn without a condom, you can call the health department and you will be rewarded with up to $25,000 to $40,000 or something that is going to come straight out of the porn company's pocket. So there's going to start being signs everywhere on the highway that's like, have you seen a porn without a condom? Call us. It's going to be some new
make $20,000
quick cash scheme. Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to make every producer's information will be public, and a lot of producers like myself are also performers. So just and even if a producer isn't a performer, why does our information have to be public? So anyone can find us just about anywhere. So they could knock on our door at any random time. And
so your information, meaning addresses and phone numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely addresses.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I know.
That's not okay.
Yeah, mine was actually. Recently, if you missed it, there was a good 10-minute window where my address was public. I'm actually in a case right now with the health department.
Kidding.
Yeah. So I owe a lot of money to the health department now for getting a fine for shooting without a condom. I'm fighting it right now. And as soon as I was caught, my address was public because
no kidding.
Yeah.
But
my lawyer did get it fixed. But there was a good.
But you had to pay your lawyer to get it fixed, and in the meantime, it's out there, and that's
and it just so happened that they put it up on the health department's website. I mean, granted, you had to search for it, but it was there,
Yeah.
The
type of people that would want to come and find you tend to be the type of people with not big lives and lots of time on their hands to do things like look for it. It's not like if you're a crazy stalker, you're not going to be dissuaded by a couple extra clicks between you and your goal.
It's just not fair.
So wait a second. Is it now illegal to film without a condom?
It has been. It has been illegal for about 10 years, but the health department.
But people continue to do it.
Yeah, people continue to do it for a very long time. Because porn regulates itself so well. We kind of make our own standards about testing, and we have the Free Speech Coalition, and we have APAC. We have these coalitions within the porn industry that decide what's fair to keep porn going. So for a very long time, the health department just kind of looked in the other way because they're like, you know what? No one's bothering us. Porn's doing fine. Let's just let them keep doing what they're doing. So that's kind of what was going on for a really long time until this one guy, Michael Weinstein, who really doesn't like porn. He's the CEO, owner of the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. He basically made it so they couldn't ignore it anymore. He just basically found porn companies and he kept filing complaints again and again and again until they had to respond. So, but if Prop 60 passes, it will get 10 times worse.
We're going to talk about what Prop 60 could wind up doing and how it could affect your life when we return. Thank you, Joanna Angel.
I'm surfing in a shark attack, and what she had to overcome was crazy in the aftermath. Nobody would have blamed her for taking a different path, but she's pro surfing now, so what do you think of that? Helen Keller was an animal caged by being blind, deaf, and mute, but a teacher and soul that never gave up on the truth. That what people say is impossible is just their own perception. Taught Helen how to speak and gave her life its direction. And if a woman can go from being considered to be legally an animal to a college grad activist, a symbol of what's possible. Radio!
Now, more AD on the radio.
Our guest on the show today is, what does it say here? Oh, this is a good, what do you call it when you join two words together? There's a name for that. Funkhauser?
I don't think we could say it on the radio if there is.
Porntrepreneur. Joanna Angel is our guest on the show today. And we're talking about Prop 60, which, back up just a little bit. It's been illegal to make porn without condoms
let's just say frowned upon.
Frowned upon.
But like a jaywalking, technicality.
Right. A ticketing offense, not a go to jail offense.
It's been something like 10 years. I don't know the exact year. But yeah. Now,
and so, Prop 60, which you're asking people to vote no on, could effectively destroy your industry in California,
yes.
and if it catches
sure.
on all over America.
Yeah, I mean, I might just go anyway, because it seems like, I don't know, because I just did get a fine and I'm in the middle of a case, and if I do get a second offense, I won't be able to afford it. So I don't know if I'm going to stick around and wait for that to happen. So there's a good chance I might just, depending on how this case goes, I might just leave anyway. But if Prop 60 does pass, I'm definitely going. Goodbye.
So let me ask you this: is it just the condom law? Like if you will, Prop 60, is that saying you know how you got away with it for the last 10 years? You definitely will have to make your form of entertainment with condoms at all times. Is that what will happen if 60 passes?
I mean, it's not even just that. Yeah, it's just everybody's information being public. Producers, something about like how we're going to have to keep everybody's paperwork and information available to the public for up to 15 years. Mm-hmm. We have everybody that works on your set has to get trained with like a bloodborne pathogen program. I don't know. It is just everything about it is just unrealistic to the industry. Mm-hmm. From everything, just it's not set up for the way porn is set up.
Right.
And it's unfair, and it's just I don't understand how it's legal that it even made its way onto the ballot. I didn't understand. Mm-hmm. That's like kind of like if you had an angry Yelper, like just basically put all restaurants out of business. Like I don't understand how it's legal that he was actually able to get an initiative on the ballot for an industry that he doesn't work in. And I think that just looks bad for all businesses. I mean, what if I went to like bed and breakfasts and I just really didn't like them? I was like, I hate bed and breakfasts. I only like hotels. I like hotels and I want everybody to stay in hotels. And I just really don't like bed and breakfast. And I just like spent all my time and all my money trying to do whatever I could to make it impossible for bed and breakfasts to operate. That's essentially what this guy has done. And I think it just, if it passes, I think that looks bad for all
America.
Businesses. Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's just not fair. Like that someone who's angry can just whine and cry and stomp their feet and pay a bunch of money and put a lot of hardworking people completely out of business. That's not fair.
You hit on something interesting there, and I think the single biggest change and the most significant thing to happen to economics, both nationally here and worldwide, is things like the bed and breakfast, specifically Airbnb. You have a room, you can make money off that room. We're going to give you an ability to make money off that room. Same with ride sharing, Lyft, Uber. You have a car. You want to make money off that car? You now have the ability to make money off the car. The new service that sends a mechanic directly to your home that is out of work, doesn't have a job being a mechanic at a specific garage. He's got a set of skills, or she's got a set of skills that people need. It's a conduit to people being able to just go work in the way they want to, and that's created all sorts of question marks over. Hey, this isn't regulated. This isn't. And you know what? I love all of it. I love the ability for people. I love this new ability that people have to offer a service that they, are capable of performing to someone that needs it. It's beautiful in its simplicity, and it's a huge paradigm shift, and it's going to come with some growing pains, but I think it's awesome. And on the other side, on the flip side of things, this guy is trying to take that away from you. I've got a lot of libertarian friends that'll tell you that what government is this. Government takes a right from you and then sells it back to you later through things like licenses to operate a store or licenses to perform a service.
It's so unfair. It's so unfair.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, look, on the one hand, I understand the health concerns that go with it. Like every situation is different. Like the one thing that I think you should have to have a license for, reproduce. You can just pop out kids as much as you want. You could be the most unfit parent on the face of the planet, and you still have reproductive rights that nobody can do anything about. And that gets sticky because you can't start performing surgeries and lobotomies on people all of a sudden. But, like out of all the things that you need a license to do, I would say, like, have CPR. Learn how to do, like, it should be a mandatory thing before your child is born. You should be able to perform these sets of parenting skills. I've got no problem with that. But, you know, like, have a dog, need a license. There's so many dogs that need homes, and you got, like, and look, I think you should be licensed and they should be registered and you should be up to date on all their shots and all of the above. But they put so many barriers between people doing the right thing.
Could just stop, like, all breeders for like 2 years. Let like 80% of the dogs in shelters find homes. Like, it does. It makes me really upset when I hear about people
adopt.
breeding their
Don't
dogs.
shop.
I know. When people tell me, like, oh, I got this dog at a breeder, I'm like, man, I don't want to pet your dog, but I'm going to.
I'm going to get up on
I don't
want
to support how cute this dog is.
I'm going to get up on a soapbox here. Millhouse, my puppy, is...
Oh, you got
adorable.
A new dog. I remember last time I was here, you told me that your dog just passed away.
Homer's still missing. But Millhouse, like all my dogs, was a rescue puppy. And people look at him and go, I can't believe that this guy was homeless. I was like,
That's
you can
what
get
they
literally
say about
any
my
dog.
Dogs. I know. Well, I have one
you can
dog.
Get literally any dog you want to if you want to rescue.
Especially in like Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
More from Joanna when we get back.
H-Town jam, came to the city with a master plan. H-Town is my home wherever I roam. I return to the land of the Astrodome. People go against my TV journey. Treat you the same if you don't got money. Don't hardly ever gonna look at you.
Real radio, real radio, real radio. 104.1. There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
Our guest on the show today is Joanna Angel, porntrepreneur Joanna Angel, who's been talking to us a little bit about what's going on with Prop 60 in America. And off the air, we're talking about this. Joanna's been on the show a number of times, and we're like, hey, we're kind of doing this punk rock politics interview series where we're talking to people about their political beliefs, how they got there, why they believe what they do, just so we can foster a little bit of understanding. And she brought up something very, very interesting. She was like, it's tough for me to talk about politics because my business revolves around having an audience. And the moment you get into that, into who you're going to vote for and things of that nature, it could alienate half of your audience. And I don't want that. I want everybody to be able to enjoy my work and not be distracted because people are distracted by this sort of thing. And it brings up a very, very interesting point. You are not only someone that makes movies, but you travel the country as a feature dancer. You get out there and you meet people in different parts of the world. You don't just live in Los Angeles. You don't just live in New York City. You are familiar with what's going on with people all over the country. And how do you think we got to this point where we are so divided that if you were to say who you're voting for, people would stop buying your product?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of it's just social media. People...
Do you blame social media? Is it the internet?
Yeah. There's just people just are just, usually when people used to have to talk to each other, actually talk to each other, at some point, someone in the conversation would go, all right, shut up. Stop talking. You don't have that on the internet. Mm-hmm. People can just go and go and go and go, and as they talk more,
I could read the comments under your pictures for hours and hours and hours. It's
I mean, as people talk more, they get more self-righteous in their own head, and they start to think that everything they're saying is right, or they read one thing somewhere and they blow it out of proportion. The media is guilty of it too. Like all the clickbait. Like there's definitely been times where it's like, whatever. They'll take like one thing that Donald Trump said. And yes, Donald Trump says a lot of ridiculous, outlandish things. But sometimes they just take like one sentence out of it and then you click on it. You're like, oh my God. And then you read the story and you're like, okay, that's actually not.
Yeah, in context, it sounds kind of reasonable.
Whatever. I mean, I'm not saying Donald Trump is reasonable, but the way the media is just like waiting, they do it to all the candidates. Like, I was like watching just last night on CNN the way they're making they're making the debates look like a UFC fight, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like the way they're editing it and the music and the phrases they pick. And it's like, this is such a joke.
You're familiar with filmmaking, so you know how they're adding drama to it through edits and music.
I know. I'm like, this is like such a joke right now. But, you know, I understand why people get so worked up and emotional over politics. You know, the country's, it's a very tough time for the country. And we're looking to have a president that's going to fix all the problems that we have. And I get it. But I think people are just, everybody wants a president, or a lot of people, they miss the issues. People actually want to vote for someone and they don't actually listen to their policies and the issues. They just look at who they want to be friends with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the digging up the past dirt for presidents, it's like it gets so ridiculous. It's like, okay, every person running for president I know, I'm sure, has done something shady. These people are very powerful people with a lot of money that live in a world that we don't understand. And I am sure to get to where they are, shady things have happened.
Whoa, man.
Same with almost everyone at every really high paying power job has had to do something a little bit crooked on their way up.
Well,
I think how it goes. Maybe I'm comfortable with this stuff because I live in Hollywood.
Well, what's the old expression? You can't make an omelet without breaking a couple of eggs.
Yeah.
Like anybody that gets to a position of power and or influence, whether it be in the entertainment world, the political world, or any kind of business, anybody that gets any power has definitely. You don't even have to say stepped on to people to get there, but there's probably people that feel like they've been stepped on, or probably people that feel like they don't like that person because they had a bad experience with them. You know, it's just like you're gonna break eggs making omelets. But I think we are all working so hard in America. Everybody now is doing the work of three people and getting paid less for it.
And
because we're working, we don't have time to really dig into things the way maybe we ought to. So we get caught up in the clickbait of social media. We get caught up in the division of social media. We have less time to go out and meet people and relate to them. It's much harder to stay angry at someone if you're face to face with them, because ultimately I think we're pretty much wired to want to get along with someone. And MC Chris was on the show the other day, and he said his litmus test for how society is. He's like, if someone was drowning, would you still try and help them if they voted differently than you? I think they would, but we might be a hop, skip, and a jump away from that, not being the case anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, but the country's very divided right now. But, I think people need to take a step back. Don't just look at what's on your friend's Facebook page. Don't just look at people ranting and raving on Twitter. I decided for who I'm going to vote for by actually watching the debates and listening to everyone's policies and what they said. And I picked who I thought was going to be the best president. I didn't pick it by reading articles. Is it horrible of me? I don't care about some of the crap these politicians have done in the past. It's like I just care about what I believe they're going to do in the future. So I don't know. That's how I feel, and that's how I picked who I was going to vote for. And granted, sometimes people need to calm down and forget the president actually has very little power. Obama really wanted to get a lot done that he could not get done because, people in Congress and the House of Representatives just didn't agree with him at all. So, people don't just remember 80% of what the president says isn't actually going to be able to happen. It's kind of just fluff in a speech. So the things that most people ignore on the ballots are actually the things that are going to affect them the most. Like all the congressmen and the senators and all the different propositions that just affect your county or your state. I mean, those are the things that really directly affect you. And those are most of the things that, and I'm guilty of it too, that on the ballot, they're like, yeah, sure, I don't really know about this, but I'll vote yes, or I'll vote no, or this guy sounds good. He's a small business owner, and so am I. I think I'm just going to vote for him because you know how it like explains everybody's, for all the county people, you know, it says their jobs. Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of people. They just
this guy was a craftsman.
They read their description. They're like, yeah, that's fine. So and I've been guilty of it too. But you know, because the actual president and vice president are who we hear the most about, and we hear all the drama and everything like that. We get so worked up and excited about it. But it's the smaller stuff that really winds up directly affecting us the most.
You know, this idea.
But in a nutshell, if you live in California, please vote no on Prop 60. It is bad for porn. It is. And just about everyone in porn would agree with me. The only people who don't agree with me are people that were in porn that aren't in porn anymore, and they're angry at porn, and that their votes don't count right now because they're not working people in the industry.
Interesting. I think that idea that you have of like the president doesn't really have that much power.
Yeah,
guys. It's interesting. Well, no, because that thought process is something that I find over and over again in people like you. And by people like you, I mean folks that run their own business, people that have kind of taken life by the short and or curlies and just gone for it. And who's in office hasn't really mattered. You're just trying to maintain, run a business, have it be profitable. And you're someone that's taking your own destiny in your own hands. And folks like that, I think a lot of the time are just like, who's been in office has never really made that much of a difference to me. I'm just trying to exist and do stuff.
Ultimately, I vote for who I think has the capability to make the economy better, because if the economy is better, my business will do better, because porn is something that comes from, you know, it's hard to get people. Item. Yes, it's hard to get people to pay for porn. It's very hard to get people to pay for porn now, but it's much harder if someone's broke. And a good economy just doesn't hurt anyone, you know. And then it's just really up to your own opinion who you think is going to do a better job in making that economy better. For small businesses, no matter who becomes president, you're always screwed. You really are. Like, there's no one that really helps small businesses. I feel like everything in the country is designed for someone who, you know, either makes $40,000 a year or $4 million a year, and that's very hard to.
Well, it's disappearing middle class.
To what's in between, and just you know, it's very difficult. The more I learn about, you know, all the little intricacies of running a small business, it really is insanely difficult in this country. But
what did your parents do?
What did my parents do? My mom was a Hebrew school teacher. My dad is a consultant, like for a big consulting firm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So neither of them were entrepreneurs, so to speak.
No, they weren't. No, I have other people in my family that are, like some of my aunts and uncles. They're, you know.
So you do have self-made business people in your family.
Yeah, I do.
What about like your political beliefs? That, like, I think a lot of people wind up rebelling against their parents. Like, you voted this way, well, guess what? I'm going to vote not that way. I'm going to vote differently.
No, I did that 1 year when I thought I was being really, when I was just a big diehard activist. I voted for Ralph Nader, which is a giant mistake, because then I single-handedly helped, George Bush come into power. And my dad gets very, very emotional about politics and voting and stuff. He was really angry at me. Like, I think my dad got more angry at me for voting for Ralph Nader than he did for me getting into porn. he had a serious intervention with me. And my dad even,
gotta sit this girl down and put her life on the right track.
My dad, because my parents are from New Jersey, and they still live there. I had moved to California, and my dad he would register me to vote in New Jersey as an absentee ballot, because it's a swing state. And he was like, no, I want you to keep voting there because your vote, matters here more.
Unbelievable. Joanna Angel, everybody.